All right, this week we're going to talk about discouragement and how to push past discouragement. So I know that we all get discouraged, and maybe you're feeling a little bit discouraged right now with the way things are in the world, or it's so hot outside. But you know what? I also know that God has an appointed time for everything. And that dream that God's put in your heart, that little thing He whispered in your ear, there is an appointed time for that. Now see, the thing is, the devil wants to wipe you out before that time. His point is, if I can kill you before your purpose, then all those people you're supposed to touch, that won't happen. So we see that, right, with Moses, how Moses was supposed to deliver the people. But then before that happens, what happens? Pharaoh wipes out all the baby boys. But God made a way for Moses. Same thing happened with Jesus, right? When Jesus was born, Herod heard there's a king, so he had all the boys under 2 killed. Again, God made a way. So that should encourage you. Whatever it is you're feeling right now and that discouragement, it doesn't become bigger than what God said to you, and He will make a way. So let's look at some of the things that discouragement does. So 7 things that discouragement does, and I'm sure there's a whole lot more than 7, but we're going to look at 7. The first one today is it causes you to be exhausted. Now, how many of you have just been exhausted? And you know what? Just because you're exhausted doesn't mean you're discouraged. So don't take that. But you know what? Sometimes we do get exhausted because of the discouragement. We're trying so hard. We want to see this happen, whatever it is that goal is, and we're not making it, and we're not getting there, and it's not coming to the breakthrough place as fast as we wish it would, and we get discouraged. That discouragement can lead us to exhaustion. You know what David says in Psalms 27:13, I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the Lord in the land of the living. And you know what? I can never even hear that verse without thinking of a good friend of mine. And way back when I was in Bible school, this friend and I, we did some little odds and ends jobs together, helping move beds and stuff out of housing. And it was so hot. So hot. And I just remember this one day we were carrying things back and forth, and I can't even tell you how many times he said this verse, but he just kept saying, I would have despaired unless I had believed. You know, it was so hot and we were so exhausted, but that verse, he just kept repeating it. What happened? It became contagious. And that verse came in my heart, and I also started saying, you know what? I would have despaired if I were just looking at the world situation, and if I were just looking at what's happening around me. But you know what? I believe that I will see the Lord in the land of the living. And we look at David, and so many times David talks about to himself. He says, why are you so downcast, O my soul? Put your hope in God. Don't be discouraged. David was talking to himself. And sometimes we have to talk to ourselves. Sometimes we have to just say, what's wrong? Let's have a little checkup from the neck up. You know, but God had spoken something to David. He had been anointed to be king, but it wasn't happening right away. Not in his timetable. He was still out in the field with the sheep. He was facing this thing and that thing, and then he wasn't being appreciated by his dad. He couldn't go to war, couldn't fight the giant. Yeah, he was discouraged. Nobody was seeing the potential in him that God was seeing. And David had to hold on to that truth. So don't give up. Don't let discouragement take you to a place of exhaustion to where you finally are just like, I am so tired. I'm so tired that I can't stand on the promise. Okay, that's what the enemy's goal is. He wants to wipe you out or make you so tired you just can't stand for that promise anymore. So, going the second mile, we're going to encourage ourselves. We're going to speak to ourselves and say, why are you so discouraged? Put your hope in God. We're going to remind ourselves that, you know what, we would have despaired, but we have every hope. We can believe. We are going to see the Lord and His provision in the land of the living. So if you have a promise, if there's something God's been speaking to your heart, or maybe it was a long time ago, hold on to that promise. Don't let go. Don't let discouragement annihilate the word God's given you.